We got hards on. We're going to the end.
Oh man, it's good to be back. Not talking about the actual races. I mean, Drive to Survive. The media we love, the media we live for. I'm one of the many few who came on that sort of Windrush, um, Netflix ship of migration. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I'm a part of that colony who's came over and started liking this sport due to Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive has done wonders. I think personally, and some people, hey, they don't like it. They think, they use that radio from Singapore, but actually, he said it at Spa. Fake news. Won't be watching. Immediately turn it off. To that I say, you must be fun at parties. To that I say, you must be. To that I say, your favorite team principal must be James Vowles. Um, so arguably one of the biggest insults I could give you. I actually quite like James Vowles, but we'll get to it. We're going to talk about the first 7 episodes of Drive to Survive. Mainly because there is 3 more I could watch, and potentially they're the best episodes of the whole season. But I've got shit to do, and I am gonna probably watch them. But I got to do a football video and then like a film thing for something else. And it's just like race week is well, we're in it, we're living it. You don't like it, we're in one. So I kind of feel like I have to, and I'll probably talk about those final 3 episodes next week, or sprinkled through somewhere. I'm not sure. Because I mean, I don't know. Australia's probably going to be a lot to talk through. But I know that the last episode of Drive to Survive is always pretty lame. It's always like the worst one. It's always who's going to get. It's just always the worst one. And then there's the other two, which I think one we're going to see a bit of doing, a little bit more of Flavio, probably a bit of Lawson and Ricardo. But it feels like the whole Ricardo storylines are a bit played out anyway. There might be some really interesting stuff in sort of the hass of it all and how that's changed. But I feel like I've got all the real good storylines that I'd be attached to anyway from the first 7, and I'll watch the next 3 as well. But because I'm short for time, we're going to mainly do the front 7. We're going to go episode by episode. I've got like a few bullet points from each one, so we can gloss over. I don't know how long it's going to take me to talk about briefly 7 episodes of masterful television, by the way. Like, just the highest honor and craft you could, like, is it too late for the Oscars? Can they not hand in their little vote for, just, I don't even know what they'd come under. Best picture, cinematography, editing. Yeah, that's right. Did you watch, which one was it? Episode 4. We'll get to it. We're going to start off with episode 1, which is it's sort of like, welcome back, business as usual. And by business as usual and welcome back, it's welcome back to usually what is chaos. It's like the sort of waking up from the rubble that is Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, and potentially Christian Horner going to an early retirement with that whole controversy. Which when I saw it in the trailers, I was kind of like, are they really ever going to talk about that in the thing? Because it's a bit of like, I know it's like technically a closed case, but for a lot of people it's still an open case and stuff, and it's just like, you don't really know what's going on there, and they're just going to want to kind of cover that. But immediately they do cover it in the episode. So I was like, damn. And they even have a moment where I thought they stopped covering it and they kind of wrapped it up after like 10 minutes, and I thought, oh, that's it. Psych. They show you more of it and stuff. They don't really go over it at all ever again in future episodes, so it's not like they fully probably deep dive into what everyone's thinking about it, but it was more than what I was expecting anyway. One of the first interesting things I saw from this episode, because like, you get so much stuff, because even though we're 7 seasons into this now, and maybe they just don't care, but I guess they forget they're mic'd up. So maybe like the cameras go down or something, or like people aren't looking, or they walk into a room and they shut the door, and you just get like the little extra like sighs, the little like fucks, or the little like, oh man, we're shit, or like the little things where the little lapse and you just forget because the door's shut and you think, you're on your own now. And it was Carlos Sainz talking to Lewis. And like, this is why it's so good. You will literally see him in the interviews and they'll go, Lewis, what do you think about Mercedes? They're great, man. God, I'm so blessed. I'm so #blessed to be with Mercedes. Ah, great team. I'll never leave them. As camera goes off, and Carlos will immediately be like, "So you think you see him winning again?" And Lewis was like, "Nah, nah." And he said it so like blasé, like, "You think Merck's got a shot?" Nah, nah. And he says stuff like, "I don't care if Ferrari is good or not. Like, if Mercedes is competitive in the future, that has no bearing on how I'm going to feel about my decision moving, if it's right or wrong." And I think that is true because it is the Ferrari of it all. And most drivers are like, but they asked Lando the other day if, for whatever reason, McLaren don't exist or they get rid of you, and you had to pick a team, who would you pick? And he was like, there is one team where I know I would go, and it's the same team everyone would probably go to, and like, it is the Ferrari of it all. So like, he probably will be happy regardless and to retire there, and it's just an iconic thing to do. But yeah, it is also clearly because he thinks, well, I'm just gonna sink in ship here. So he jumps. And then you go kind of, that kind of is like, intertwining with the whole Christian Horner and that whole thing, which is just like, oh, like just how like stuffy all the room, like stifling that felt, like walking around, the constant gulps before every question you answer. The whole they make Zach Brown sort of seem like he's just like prodding this fire. It's kind of like all the other team principals are just, they're kind of doing it, but they're also kind of like gassed a little bit. Like Zach Brown's kind of like, I mean, this is great for us. We can just keep poking that bear and stuff. Christian Horner, I mean, even in his fiery moments, when he's in the pits of hell, he's still, he calls Zach Brown is a prick. Because Zach Brown, I guess, is just loving this. Zach Brown is just seeing these as any chance, to get McLaren up there, constructors, which they eventually get. And like they kind of wrap it up like the case is closed. And I forgot this extra bit happened, or like the order events, but they wrap it up. Horner's all the what's the law terms? All the counts are dropped. Everything was dropped basically, and then it kind of just went back to normal. And we just watching the races, and I'm like, okay. They didn't really go into that much. That was sort of wrapped up in 10 minutes, a little bit weird. But then it's like the broom, 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 and then they edit it. It's like everyone's like looking down at the same time. And I'm sure some of these people in the pit were probably just looking at lap times, or people just checking their phones at the time, whatever. But they edit it all together, like everyone is getting the news at the same time. It's like, a secret email from an anonymous sender was sent to all 10 principals or whatever, and it like cuts to them all like at their laptops as if draft design is perfectly capturing them, seeing it like what's this type thing. And everyone's just like, damn. I think maybe Christian Horner's reaction might be like a genuine in-moment reaction. Maybe he's just reacting to like his draft. But I think this was the beginning of the season, right? So like his team would have been doing well at that point, so that he didn't really have much reason to have his head in his hands. But like I felt like they kind of captured the moment he sees it, where he's on the pit wall and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then he talks about how someone's trying to take me out, and then they're like, "Who is it?" And he's like, "That's the $1 million question." And then she's like, "Which you know the answer to." And then you kind of just like, it's like a bit of a smile through gritted teeth, like a yeah. Like he was picturing the person's face exactly, just going fuck you, yeah. But yes, he doesn't say a thing. He keeps it, whatever. The whole Jerry Horner of it all is crazy in this episode. Like when he has to will Jerry Horner out, like to prove like no, we're a strong couple. It's like everyone knows it's a PR move. Like it's not like you're gonna trick anyone, but yeah, people do it anyway. It's kind of like when you're like Jonathan Majors when he was in that controversy, and then he's got the flat cap on and he's like stopping school kids breaking up a fight or whatever, or like Elon Musk when he's got his kids on it, his kid on his shoulders, the one he wheels about, and it's just like yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, people do these things that we know they're gonna look like they're done for PR, but yet you do it anyway because you just have to. So he wheels out Jerry to be like, no, we're still strong and committed, and we're not crumbling, and we're not breaking down here, and yeah, like I didn't remember obviously seeing videos of it. You just see the pictures. It's like, oh, there's Jerry, and you can even see in the photos that behind the eyes of the smile, it's like this is a difficult moment. But like, yeah, when you're watching In Drive to Survive, she looks insane. She has this like he's like grabbing her tight, and they're like walking, and he's like, head down, and she's like just smiling away, smile and wave, boys. But like, she never drops the smile, because she's got to be smiling in all the photos and stuff, and it's just like, hi, yeah, 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 and she just looked insane. It was kind of depressing almost to watch, and then you also get a bit of Carlos's pubes. For any Carlos stands out there, you're this much closer to seeing his dick, so I'm happy for you. I think that's because they were showing like he had appendicitis or whatever, and they was like putting a plaster on him or whatever. There was context to it. I do remember them saying like in one of the episodes there will be explicit sexual content or something. It was rated 18. I don't know if that was actually a case, or if that's one of the 3 episodes I'm for some reason not covering like a fool, But maybe they were just alluding to Carlton's pubes. But anyway, episode 2. I mean, I'm a Lando guy. The rivalry episodes. Obviously, this one's basically one of my favorites. Going straight into it, like we were probably 5-10 seconds in, and I had to just write down already insane, already sick. Just like loving what they're setting up already. It's so like, God, it's so heartbreaking. It's so like painful. It just breaks your heart. Like Lando's talking about being like a successful loser. Like he's been successful for all these categories, but he's raced a lot against Max, second to Max. He talks about like, I'm good and stuff, but I've not really had a win yet. Might never get a win ever. Ever, yeah, I might never win. I've got a lot of podiums. I'm happy about that, but I think all of my P2s, yeah, P2s to Max, and it's just like, damn, that is crazy. Like, when people talk about, oh, could you ever be in a relationship where your girlfriend is far more successful than you or makes way more money than you? Do you reckon your ego could take that? Lando would be just fine. Like, he's very good friends with Max, flying around on his private jet all the time after he's just beat him at weekends and stuff, and that has been the case for his whole life. And he just was like, yeah, but we have fun playing paddle and stuff, and it's just like crazy. Christian Horner talks about how Max is just like complete fuck you mentality, direct quote. And yeah, I mean, one of the funny parts is like that, Will Buxton, because every single time Will Buxton speaks, we need to be literally in the tightest, close up of your life, literally about 4 millimeters away from his face, as he doesn't blink and tells you something incredibly dramatic or over the top. But Will Buxton's like, Max and Lando are incredibly different or something like that. And then Max is a killer or something and Lando's not. And it cuts to Lando basically, and it's like, well, actually it's directly after the whole, it might be the Horner might say this, which is Max has a complete fuck you mentality. And Lando, hard cut, and it's like him playing with like 4 puppies and stuff. Yeah, frolicking through fields. And it's like, it's like alludes to the fact that Max is a psychopath. You wouldn't catch Max liking or smiling at a dog or seeing a small toddler, hello, never Max. No, Max is unhinged, deranged. I'm pretty sure Max has pets, or even if he doesn't, I'm sure Max in real life is, but the way they do it, they're alluding to Lando's human. He'll smile at a cute dog, Max wouldn't dare do that. Max has a fuck you mentality. If he saw puppies, he'd probably boot them half a mile, type thing. And Lando has this whole, like, I can win it my way. Like, everyone tells me I got to change, I got to appear more serious and this and that. And, like, I take the steps to, trying not to listen to people as much. But ultimately, like, I want to win it as a nice guy. Which, if you've seen, like, another sports behind-the-scenes kind of documentary they would do sometimes, they haven't done one in a while, but the All or Nothing documentaries in football, the one they done on Spurs, Mourinho would disagree, when he was managing Spurs. Nice guys? You guys are nice. You guys are a bunch of nice guys. But nice guys, they never win. They never win. I need you guys to be cunts, So, it's whatever he says. And Lando's not trying to take that bet. He's trying to win it, He's trying to win it, giving wins back to his teammate and sort of holding people up and, just being a team player. And we'll see how that goes. But, you know, I mean, this is the episode where he kind of does get some ups. He gets a couple wins in this episode. Um, Christian Horner drops. There's winners and there's wankers because Christian Horner has just got quotes coming out of every orifice of his body. We see George Russell getting extremely gassed about Trump or Trump's attendance at the Miami Grand Prix. He's like, he like jumps out of his skin. Oh, Trump's here. Like he wants to go see Trump and just see him. He's not necessarily loves Trump. He just wants to see Trump move and stuff and like see. Oh wow, he's just as orange as I imagined. He just wants to like get a look at him. Get a quick glimpse. He's like the like the bearded lady or something, or like the tiny donkey, the world's tiniest donkey that's like the size of like a pigeon or whatever. He just wants to, when you go to those fairs, I remember I was listening to like a Theo Von podcast. It's like you pay like $2 or whatever, and you go in the back, and it's like, damn, that is a small donkey. That's a little horse or whatever. And you just kind of look at it, and you're just like, huh, wow. It's like George had that kind of whole reaction going on. It's the whole Lando no wins again with the editing. Like as he's about to cross the line of that Miami Grand Prix. It's like, and they do this a couple times where they allude to like what the driver's thinking and make it like a whole experience. They did it kind of in the Leclerc episode, but he's sitting there in the car and they're playing like people in different interviews. Lando no wins, Lando no wins, Lando never won a race, Lando no wins. Like playing that as if that's what he was going through his mind of flashing over his eyes as he crossed the line, but he gets that first win, which was nice to see. Obviously, as a Lando guy, I saw it when it happened, and they have this cool moment where like Christian, I think what was happening is like Christian Horner, like he's seeing Lando on top of like the podium and stuff at Miami. I don't think they were maybe were they on the no? Max was second, but I think maybe you walk a different route if you're not the winner of the race, and they win so much, and I don't think that. Since Miami's only been there for like 2 or 3 years, so they've won every single time Miami's been there. And maybe you walk a different route if you came second or third or something. So he's like standing there like, Lando, so we don't go this way. No, so this is parfait or whatever, and this and that. Basically we got to walk like around if we want to get back to the front part of the thing. And he's like, right, so we got to yeah, so I guess we should walk the other way then. He's just like, what do I even do with myself? Because it's just like winning is become so natural, and he talks about, like it's good to lose a couple of times. Remember how bad it feels. It gives you more fuel. And Lando just breaking my heart again as they cut to him because they then talk about my favorite track of each year, the Austrian GP. And that's where they had the whole fight, the whole pushing each other off track. I mean, I say each other. It was a lot of Verstappen there, but putting his, grabbing his cojones, and the whole Lando one and the apology, and like in the car the next day being like, I didn't get one. Hoped so. He's my best friend in the whole world, but yeah, no, he's probably flying or something. Just no signal, probably. I expect when he lands, I don't know if I got the blue. Oh no, I've got blue. Oh no, that's weird. I thought he wouldn't have seen it yet, but it says it's 2 blue ticks. But yeah, you busy guy. It's just like, oh, Lando, you're breaking my heart right now. That kind of rounds out episode 2. Fuck. I just realized I got 5 more still. I was going to try and do 10 all in one. Because I would have preferred to split it into 2, 5 and 5 or whatever. But with they released Drive to 5 so close to the first race. So it's like you got to do them all in one, really. And I was going to do 10 would have been crazy. I'm only on 2 right now. I've got to speed up. But there are some episodes where there's no straight up real boring episodes, I don't think. There's maybe 1 or 2 that are more boring than others. But there are definitely episodes where I only jot down like one thing I thought was worth mentioning. So I guess we'll come up to some of those. Episode 2 was definitely a big one for me in terms of writing stuff down. Episode 3 is the whole Lewis leaving, so like Toto's trying to find who he wants, and it's like Carlos Sainz. He's good, you know. I don't know why they don't really like. I think they just say nice guy or whatever and move on. I don't really know why he's not really acknowledged that much. They kind of go Fernando Alonso, yucky, too old or whatever. I don't know who else they go over. Max is another one they go over, and apparently this is an interesting thing I thought was worth noting. It's the little lines you gotta like sometimes where it's just like, oh, that's interesting, and you can miss them easily if you're like just kind of doing something else while watching or just whatever. But like he's like, Lewis made me promise to never talk to Max, and and it's like that's interesting. So like I don't know at what point he said that. That was always the case. That was like after he got beat by Max in that season where he was meant to get his 8th, and it was like fucking what was the word he uses? It's a fuck, I can't remember what he says when he's on the radio. God, do you reckon ChatGPT would know? What? Let's see. What did Lewis Hamilton say on the radio? As I can only type with one hand. I can't type quick enough, and I feel like I've got to type in something real specific for them to know what I'm talking about. He's like, it's a something, man. It's a something. God, I can hit the whole phrasing of it, the whole tone of his voice, but not the actual words. Not like corruption, but he uses like a word or whatever. And maybe after that, he walked into Toto's office and said, "You ever speak to Verstappen about being my teammate, I'll freaking kill you on the spot," or whatever it was. But it's just interesting that he was like, "Yeah, you don't talk to him. You could do anything. You could drop me tomorrow. You could get rid of George. You could bring in Alonso here. You could bring in any ex-rival of mine. You could send me out to the. You could do what you want. Do what you want. What you don't do. I got one rule. Not him. And I thought that was a little interesting line to pick up on. But apart from that, in this episode, it was like an interesting watch, but there's nothing really to really pick out. Here's one lie I'll give you, because I don't really care about the radios used here or the reaction shots used in the wrong places and stuff. But Spa was a huge lie, because the way they show it, and that's like George's big moment, and that's where Toto makes his mind up. It's like, I don't disagree with it still coming to that conclusion technically, so I guess to my own usual point and logic, it's fine, and they couldn't really have time to cover it or whatever, and it didn't really fit into the storyline of the episode. But like, George lost that race. Like, that wasn't like a happy weekend for George. That was the weekend where the FIA took George out back and shot his fucking brains out. That's where George thought he had done something baller and like legendary. And during celebration, the camera pans down and George is like spewing blood, back up, falls to his knees, and then the FAA walked up and put a final bullet in his head because he was like 3 pounds over or underweight or something, even less than that probably. And they just don't cover that all. They just kind of play it like a normal race went down, and Lewis didn't get a win there. So I guess that's like the biggest lie in the 7 episodes, where I'm like, that one's kind of egregious. If not for anything but, I would just love to have seen George behind the scenes like upset, because it just would have been funny. Sorry, George. And Kimmy's introduced, and Kimmy is a child. Sometimes you meet kids and then the reporters are like, "Wow, you're so mature. You speak like an adult. How do you reckon how have you got such a mature head on yours?" Kimmy's not really like that. Within seconds of hearing Kimmy speak, he seems like a kid, in a sense that he's like still 17. He's not like a 14-year-old, but he comes across like he's 14. He's like, bouncing around when he sees, he's got the whole Tom Holland, Peter Parker style energy when he sees Toto. He's like, yeah, he's got this huge teddy bear that he calls Toto Bear in his little bedroom where he's playing Skylectrics or whatever. He's got like the whole Hot Wheels out. And they kind of go, "We're going with Kimmy," which is just like an out of the blue, because they're never mentioning Kimmy or wanting a young guy. I guess an ideal. I don't know. But eventually, they're like, "We're going with Kimmy. We're bringing in the young guns," and they go for Kimmy, which I ain't got a problem with. And it makes George happy. Kimmy's happy. Or easy 1-2 they got going on. I don't know how good that car will be, but nothing to complain there. And that's the whole of episode 3, really, that I'll cover. Episode 4, again, it's just like a heartbreaking watch. It's a heartbreaking watch. It's like, it's just like, gosh, sometimes you watch stuff and it's like, this is just so sad. It's so sad. I kind of love James Vowles just because he's so pathetic. He's not pathetic. He's just such a like, it just breaks my heart. I would just hate to see. I've said it breaks my heart so many times during this. There's just so many like, catastrophes going on. But James, numbers guy, introduced him in like last season with the coffee, where people are just trying to like have a coffee in the morning and go by. James Vowles is straight on the shoulder. Caffeine actually has this many milligrams. I only have espresso shots of particularly 146 grams, because what coffee actually does is it will take you to an elevated state and that will become your norm, which means you actually now have to have 400 milligrams of caffeine to get to that place. I like to say why. And it's like, James, I'm just trying to have a coffee, mate. No, but if you keep drinking coffees like that, he's very, scientific in that way. And, it starts off with him, he's like jogging with all his little pals and stuff talking. He's like, if we get 8th, that will be success. Like, we could get 9th and stuff, but 8th, wow. Guys, and like, God, to be a team down at the bottom, it's gotta be hard sometimes to like be going into the season and that's what it is. I get it. I guess I get it that it would be, but it still doesn't help when you're going into the season. And James is like, "We get 8th this year, boys." That's the pinnacle, and it's like, God, those are the promised lands. We see him get stood up in the hotel room, which is, oh my God, man, it's so sad. He's like standing there, all perky, holding roses, like licking his hands and like slicking his hair back, and it's like, any minute now, right there, he's gonna open the door. He said he's 5 minutes away. James, it's been 20 minutes. He'll be here. I'm getting a little bit worried now. And again, with the cinema, right? A little shot I loved. Like when they was setting everything up, and he's like eyeing his bed sheets and stuff. And like they put the champagne in the ice, and he's like, he's excited, and then he's not coming. You just get the shot of them take that champagne out of like the now melted ice, wipe the bottom off, and like I remember Timothy Chalamet speaking about in a speech, like the most small you feel or something, the most like lame you feel as an actor is when you're nominated for an award, you lose, even if you weren't like really ever had a chance to win, you lose, and you go home and you just like, oh yeah, I wrote this, and you just take your like acceptance speech that you wrote in case you had won, and you just look at it and you just like feel like, God, I'm such a fucking asshole. Like I sat and wrote this little speech in my mind at the chance I would have won, and who the fuck did I think? And then you just tear it up and you just chuck it in the bin. You're like, I guess another time. But like, it's just like that going home is like, everyone, it's like footballers who have like a message under their shirt. The amount of messages that never got shown under football players' shirts because they didn't happen to score, certain fuck yous or rest in pieces, or just random messages that people probably had on their shirts, which they thought, if I score this game, I'll take it off. And then they sat in the change room after, and it was getting changed, and I was like, oh yeah, fuck, And it's like the similar emotions or like specific emotions I'd grab from those kind of examples is like the champagne and the thing. Like you take the champagne out of the melted ice and you're just like, I'm such a dickhead. What the fuck was I thinking? Why would a boy like that want to be of a team principal like me? What was I thinking? I could never be loved. You just drink it on your own, drink yourself into, blackout drunk. It was just like, God, that's sad. And from a scientist point of view, I don't know why they was trying to wine and dine. He says like sometimes trying to get drivers is like relationships. First it's like little texts, and you take them for dinner, and then before you know it, you're meeting up in the hotel bedroom, and it's like, are most relationships like that? Do they lead to hotel bedrooms? Is it texts, dinner, then hotel bedrooms? And also, for signing drivers, should it be? Does it have to be text, dinner, and then hotel bedrooms? Why do we have to rent out a hotel bedroom I guess it's a little bit more discreet. Wine and Dine, all like, other, because when they actually signed it, it feels like it was just James and another guy there. But then in the hotel, it was like, we got this person here and this person head of media, and everyone's sort of running around. And like, maybe you just didn't want to come up to James Vals's double bed suite, and you got something from Flavio who's just got, way more suave and aura. And it's just like, I'll think about it, because I think then a couple of weeks later, he comes to the actual boardroom. Again, great editing. They're doing the whole thing like, whose door is he going to answer type thing, and they're both looking as if it's like happening simultaneously, as if like he had a meeting booked with Flavio and James both at 7 o'clock. Flavio's sitting there, it's turning to 7. James is sitting there, it's turning to 7. Like it's like, one of these first dates reality TV shows. They're both like waiting at a dinner or whatever. And he opens the door, they both look over, and it's James at the end of the day. And yeah, it was dramatic ridiculousness, but it's what we're here for. Number 5, God, we're at 31, and I like these other 3, because number 5 is the Leclerc story. Number 6 is Lando with Piastri, which I really want to not brush over. And number 7 is sort of the bottle episode about all like the, I'm just a kid, teenage, that whole thing going on. So maybe I'll stop actually at 5, and I will do the next 5 on another rep, which I think I was hoping that maybe we weren't starting with a double week, because maybe I could just do it next week, but I'll do it in one of the off weeks basically, when no one cares anymore, because Drive to Survive by that point will be completely old. But I'll do it then, because I just think by the time I get to 7, Jesus Christ, I didn't think I was good. Look, what can I say? I love Drive to Survive, but episode 5 is a little quick one we can go over, because there's not much to cover. It's a lot of stuff we know already. But it's just beautiful seeing it laid out for you, which is it's the Charles Leclerc story. It's all just Charles Leclerc. Some other episodes it's 2 people back and forth, or it's like a few stories intertwining. This one is just Charles. It's his episode. It's like when you're watching a season of a TV show and you get that one character, and you get the whole backstory and stuff, and it's just, again, it's beautiful, because I'm pretty sure that was his mum cutting his hair, and it's like when he won the race in Monaco, the commentary was, he grew up on these streets of Monaco, son of the hairdresser, finally king of Monaco, wherever he crosses the line. And it's like, then it cuts to him sitting in like an apartment, getting his hair cut by his mom, hairdresser, when he was a kid. I guess still does it now. Still gives him haircuts, in the bathroom, as he retells the story of like his childhood and growing up here, and his dad, and how he lied to his dad on his deathbed about how he made it to Formula One because he didn't want his dad to miss that. And although it wasn't confirmed yet, he wanted to give his dad that, because even though maybe he believes in the whole like he's looking down on me, you just want to make sure and give him that beforehand. And then he felt bad about it, and his mom was like, you shouldn't have lied and told him that. But it was just like, it's just great story anyway. And then how he actually now has made it happen. It's just, it's a great story. Monaco King. It's just like, Monaco is such a weird little place, and I can't imagine what it'd be like to live there. And like to be Leclerc, because like the Formula One is the most iconic thing about it, and those streets, and that happens there. And then you are like the best driver from there in the biggest sport there, and you just walk around the neighborhood, and it's like you're famous. But you're not famous like if, like David Beckham if David Beckham walks around, he'll be hooded, or whatever the word is, like he'll be jumped on, and everyone will be like, oh my David. Like he's famous, but he's not famous in a way that when he walks around Monaco, there's like, he is so famous in Monaco, and he's like a king of Monaco, but he lives amongst Monaco, and he's like a proper Monegasque, And like, so when people see him, it's like, oh my god, hey, Charles. Like, it's more of like a, come on, man, like we got you, like, woo, it's a choke, baby, it's like, yo, Charlie L, big win on the thing. It's like, yo, well done, man. It's people dapping him up and stuff. It's kids running up on the street. It's like it's a lot more chilled and tempered. It's like constant, and everyone you walk past, they kind of giving you like, you're sort of Spike, Tobey Maguire in it to everyone as you walk down the street. But it's just like, it's just such a weird sort of environment that he has going on there. And, yeah, just sort of seeing as the whole thing. I don't know anyone who couldn't love Charlie. Charles Leclerc, And that was a great episode. And, yeah, In the next one, we'll go through 6, which I think is great. 7's great for like a certain demographic, probably. Oh wait, no. Yeah, 7, and then 8, 9, and 10, which I have no idea what those ones are about yet. But it's hard to talk for more than 35 minutes on your own. Your voice gets dry, and yep, the heating's on, which is just crazy because I'm swashing my shirts off. But yeah, Formula One Drive to Survive, best thing since sliced bread. And the next episode though is gonna be down under the Australian Grand Prix, and I just remembered. Oh, I'm gonna have to wake up early because I swear they started like 4 in the morning or whatever, which sucks. But first race back, so they know everyone's gonna do it. This is meant to be a prediction, but I guess I'll give a prediction for that race. I have no idea what will happen. I think. I don't know. I don't know who's quick. I guess I think Leclerc will put it on pole because we just spoke about him, and Lando will win. That's what I'll say. We'll see. Hardson will go into the end. Thank you. See you for Down Under.